Hi, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk. My name is Ethan McKellar.
I'm Mike Milano.
And here we have a very special guest who is not only a star of the Ensemble, which is an F-14 film, but an actor, a Pace alum where I go to school. So I would like to invite Victor to our set. Victor, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us your background.
Oh, what a riveting background I have for you. I'm Victor Colasurdo. I graduated from Pace. We're filming here right now, which is kind of crazy. Every time I walk back in here, I'm just like,
Yeah.
whew, wow. They keep changing it and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm an actor. Graduated about 2 years ago now.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I don't know.
That's
Background.
awesome. Where are you
I
originally?
hail from Toms River, New Jersey.
Okay, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jersey
Cool.
boy.
Awesome. Nice. So we always start off our episodes, and we'll start it off again today with recommendations. It's an exciting time. The Oscars are next week. This episode will come out. We usually film it a week before, but for this special episode, we're doing it just a day before. So we're still a week away from the Oscars and in the listener world, too. So we want to know, what are your recommendations? It doesn't have to be Oscar related, but what is something you watch, TV or film, that you want to recommend to our audiences? Victor?
You know, I know you said it doesn't have to be Oscar related, but now you bring up the Oscars.
Yeah, make it Oscar.
I am always, I have my favorites and everything, but you know what? Show some love to the international film category.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to watch them. I still have to watch Society of the Snow because it's on Netflix. I like going to the theater. I prefer that. But I'd say out of those ones, Anatomy of a Fall should be in that category,
Yes.
but France had some bullshit
Yeah.
and nominated. That movie's phenomenal. You got to go see that. But I'd say Perfect Days is Japan's
Perfect
entry.
Days.
Yeah,
Wow.
Japan's entry, which Japan actually had some good competition because there's another Japanese film called Monster, phenomenal. But go see Perfect Days. It's a beautiful little slice of life movie. It's so simple, but sometimes the most simple films I think are like the most profound.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I'd say Perfect Days. Go see Perfect Days.
Yeah, cool. All right, Mike, what do you got for us?
I actually, about 2 days ago, me and my family watched Priscilla for the first time.
You stole
Not gonna
mine.
lie. Huh?
You stole mine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so we watched Priscilla. I thought he had a better voice than Austin Butler, but I think the Elvis movie is better than Priscilla. I thought it was good. Probably 1 to 10. I'd probably rate the film like a 7. I
Yeah.
would watch it again if I had to. But yeah, that's my recommendations. I really haven't been watching, anything crazy. Still watching Ray Donovan, like I say every time on this episode or on this podcast. But yeah, so that's my recommendation. I'm sorry I stole yours, buddy.
No,
But,
it's okay. I
It's
know.
life.
Now,
Things happen. No, I'm
now I
kidding.
have to think of another one. I will say Priscilla. Well, you got to think with Elvis versus Priscilla, they're totally different movies. I mean,
Yeah.
the scope of them, and one is made by like a very famously not indie, but I mean, she kind of is indie. But I don't know
I'd
why
say
she's indie
Sofia
when she could
Coppola, yeah.
easily be. She doesn't want to be that mainstream kind of. Big
I'd
stuff.
say it's smart for
But
her.
no, it is smart for her
Because so many indie film directors go, like, they get big at the Oscars and then they go to the studios.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just don't.
No,
don't.
don't. Yeah.
Chloe Zhao.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I think so. It is indie in a way, but it's just, I guess what I'm saying is it's so funny that she's indie because she's been around for so long.
Yeah, she's a name.
Right, but it is indie. It is indie. So it's an indie film, with such a simple kind of like tight timeline, unlike Elvis, which is stretching over
Oh, my God.
decades, if you will. And they're different films. One is action packed, obviously centered around Elvis, and the other one's obviously so. I think it's hard to compare them because they're obviously like different films.
Yeah.
But I would say that I enjoyed Priscilla for what it was. It was a little bit more of a slower paced film, and I think that it definitely made us leave and think, about Elvis.
I saw
kinda-
Priscilla. Oh, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I kind of felt bad for her in a way because, like, if you notice in the movie, the father, and then I think
Elvis.
the father's girlfriend and Elvis, and like
Mhm.
she was just so controlled like a robot. Like she couldn't, freaking eat something without getting permission, and it's just sad to see someone live that way. But I do think she gave respect to the Elvis movie because, she let the Elvis movie be about Elvis, then she told her story. It's not like, she jumped in there and tried to, make a big spiel about herself in the Elvis movie, because she was only in there for like a few scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as you were saying, Victor, sorry.
The best scene in Elvis is that tarmac scene when she leaves. I was like, damn, that's great. To me, because I saw Priscilla when it came out in October, and not that we have to keep going because I know we have some limited time. We want to talk about other stuff.
Going.
But Priscilla, to me, like, I don't think it's a bad movie per se. I think it's incredibly well made, well acted. I always say I think it was very effective in portraying her life because she had, that's kind of the thing. It's such a boring life. But by proxy, I say it's effective because I was bored watching it.
Yeah.
To me, it's just like there wasn't enough love in that relationship to hook me. So the whole time I'm just like, why are you with this dude?
Exactly.
And then I have to remind myself, oh, it's Elvis.
Right.
That's the feeling I had. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's well made.
Yeah.
Haley Spaney's great.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and we were saying the same thing. Like, every scene is her trapped inside four walls. Yeah. It is basically her inside a room.
Like, do I want to watch a woman be mistreated for 2 hours?
Yeah,
no.
And it's like
that's kind of the point. But
and I also felt like about last thing I'll say, and then we can move on.
Yeah,
but the third act of the movie, she makes this decision, and I don't know what incited her decision to leave him finally.
Yeah.
Like, is it the child? It's not the child? Like, she didn't really. I mean, there was no really connection between her and the child, as you see. So it's like, what was the random kind of move for her to finally leave? And I don't know, but it's still obviously it did portray what it was hoping to portray, and I think the acting was great, but it's definitely not your action-packed Elvis.
Which I don't think Elvis is a good movie, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, I
think Austin Butler's incredible in it.
Yeah,
but you got to see Dune 2. I just saw that.
Yeah,
he is insane in that movie. He is so good.
He's like the villain, right?
Yeah, he's like the I guess you'd say one of the main antagonists, like within the faction of antagonists.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Well, I don't want to. Obviously, we do have limited time, and I want to make sure that we get to Victor's experience within and outside of F14 Entertainment. And so Victor, just a little background for our audience, because I like to update them kind of who we have on, why we have them on. So Victor is obviously the star in the Ensemble and Speech, which we won't talk about too much because it hasn't even been really out yet, and the world doesn't even know about it. It's been announced. But I also, obviously, through the Ensemble and Speech, have gotten to know Victor personally, and I mean, it's only coming up on a year of knowing you, and I feel like we've already built such a great director and actor relationship that I know that obviously if I want him to come on a podcast, I can call him and he's here. So I think that's awesome, and I think that just for the audience to know our background. But I want to start off by the beginning of our F14 relationship, if you will, and talk about we called you in. I forget how. I think we knew. Did you submit as an actor for the Ensemble?
Yes, because I guess I discovered some weird loophole in the PACE PPA cardboard thing. I don't think I'm technically supposed to still get those emails.
Do you still get them now?
I still get them.
I don't even get them.
That's why I get the free tickets.
That's wild.
See Kimberly Akimbo every week. They keep giving free tickets.
That's wild.
But yeah, so I saw, because at the time, I'm just kind of, I don't think I was just starting to work, because I didn't work for a couple months because I saved a lot of money, and I was like, let me just chill and look for, to build a reel, student films, short films, whatnot. So I saw that come across the PPA call board, and I was like, why not? I could do this. And then I looked at the roles, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I think I can only play the teacher. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Submitted, and then you and Will called me in. And that process to me, I don't know if you want to just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it.
So interesting, because I had done 2, I think, student films before that. This was like the most concise, efficient process of doing it. Because I remember I told you I only had a limited time, so then I had to go to work. We came in, what did we shoot it in? Like an hour and a half?
Oh my God. It was a little long. I mean, maybe for you.
Well, the one sequence, of course.
Oh, the one sequence.
To
Yeah, but
Kinda like the main
I think
sequence of the
I think
film.
we probably did like a good 2 hours. I think we went at like 11. You probably maybe not. Yeah, leave by 12:30. Might have been an hour and a
I
half.
think it's like the same thing here. I have to leave
Yeah.
at 12:30 because I
Yeah.
got to go to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably that.
I love what you said about the student, not the student festival,
The film festival,
festivals. You're like, you like worked it out as you were talking about the casting. You're like, yeah, I met him twice. When we casted him and then when we shot him.
Yeah.
I just
It's
left.
wild. I guess, Mike, I can throw it to you in a minute, but I just want to say it's so funny that we were not looking for an acting teacher originally. I don't know if I ever told you that.
I think you might have.
I think I mentioned before that like I was considering being the acting teacher. Now I'm not like I'm not an actor, but there was something about
That might have been a better movie.
Yeah, no way a better movie at all. But it was just funny.
Scorsese it. Throw yourself in the back of the taxi. Come on.
It was just funny because it was a little bit of an irony, and it was just gonna be great. But as we saw your name come up, I remember saying to Will, who also produced the film, and saying to him, "Oh my God, this is perfect. I think we found someone I don't have to be in it because I think he's going to be 10 times better than even if I tried." And there's just a level of intensity to the acting teacher. The film comes out in June. So again, I don't want to give anything away. Just forgot to say that. Can't give the ending away. But but in terms of the character, I think this is a lot out there in the world and trailers and stuff like that. There's so much intensity involved in the character. And yeah, it's amazing. I don't want to take a question away from Michael, so I want to throw it to Michael.
Yeah. So you're talking about F-14. Is acting something you always wanted to do, or did you just come across it and say, "Hey, this is pretty cool. Let me try this"?
It's so funny because I kind of have both. You know, when I was like 5 years old, I vividly remember, like my uncle asked me, like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was like an actor, but I was a 5-year-old, so
Yeah.
you know, I think a big part of life is like coming back around to those like initial feelings you have, like when you're a child, and you know they say like the crap with like the phrase like out of the mouth of babes, you know, whatever. I'm going wherever with this, but yes, I knew I wanted to be an actor. I knew there was always something within me that like, no matter what, I had an entertainer like vibe to me. But I didn't act until my junior year of high school. Because I just didn't. It didn't find me. I didn't find it.
Yeah.
And I was at a point where I was looking for what I wanted to do, and I remember seeing for the school musical, it was Bring It On the musical.
Oh my gosh.
I saw the poster and I was like, yeah, I think it's time. So then I did that, and then I did that, got a lead, and then right after that I was like, okay, yep, this is what I want to do. And then I went on like the college circuits, and then I had to figure out how to do that. I did, and then.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so crazy that you came to it so much later.
It's funny because I would always find ways that came out in certain ways. Like they would have like a pop concert in like 8th grade. That was the first time I ever did anything in front of like my school, and I like went up and sang an Italian opera song. Or they had the weird like like school pageant, like Mr. Mrs. like like whatever your school mascot is. My sister did it. We did the single ladies dance in front of the whole school.
No way.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of killed that shit. I kind of did. But so, like, it came out in certain ways, but then it wasn't until junior year I was like, oh, this is the way. That is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you prefer a little more? Do you prefer film or theater, or it just doesn't matter? You just love to act.
Generally I always say it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Because I remember in school, college school, like there was this idea that yes, it is different, like somewhat, when you're on film versus theater. It's really not that different,
right?
In my opinion, because I've discovered that through doing some of these short films and everything, it's like those thoughts of like technique and voice, and I have to act different. It just puts me in my head.
Yeah.
So the best way, like you probably saw it in speech, I remember, which I would just let things go and do whatever. Which I remember you told me it's like that's an editor's nightmare, but I was like, well, that's the job of the editor to figure it out. I don't know.
I hear you. Yeah,
but I think I'm more comfortable in theater, but I like film more.
Mm.
I mean, it's more accessible. You just go to the movie theater.
Right.
It's way cheaper. Oh my god! I usher in Broadway theater, so I see what people are paying, and then I get to watch the theater, and I'm like the film.
That's so funny. I was just thinking about that in terms of as you grow older, what's accessible and what's not accessible to do. So, like when I was younger, when I was in high school, I was like directing theater because who would want to be in a film in high school, and who
It's like hard,
and who has the gear in high school, and so that's why I did theater. And then when I came to college and the gear became accessible, the people wanted to do film, it automatically became film.
Yeah.
So it's a weird kind of like cycle and world that you almost have to do. You have to be willing to do both in a way. You have to be willing to jump in and like just do any type of acting possible to get a job, to get the opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're able to kind of like move around or?
Well, it's now you're saying this because it's like where I'm at right now. It's so much easier to do film.
Yeah.
Because they're student films, they're short films.
Totally.
In theater, you need to rent the space. You need to do the rehearsals.
Yeah.
You need to pay for the spaces. I need to take off more time. I mean, no matter what, it's always that you have to do the work before you come to, and you got to get the most out of it. So, like with film, it's a little easier, but then it's more on me. I have to prep and make sure that, we only have an hour and a half in the ensemble. And towards the end, we were running and gunning.
Yeah.
That was, might I just say, that was incredibly impressive. I was so impressed with, like, because I had been on two student projects before, and then I did the TV episode on The Equalizer, which that was a professional set.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. But Ethan did everything. You did the sound, you just had the camera, you were directing and just telling us what to do, and I was, as we were filming, I was like, oh, how is this going to come out? And then I saw it, like, God damn.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then going on to speech, because I was telling Sophie, because my roommate was in speech, and I was just like, so it's going to be this and that. We come in, we're all at the table, everyone has a name tag. I was like, you really stepped up. I was so impressed. I'm always impressed.
Yeah, I think with F14, like we take a value in the prep. As you're saying, the prep is everything. The prep is 90% of the film for an actor, for a director, for a producer, and I think something that we strive for at F14 is it's about the process. And obviously, we're not cliche. The product is always what we're here for. Like obviously, film festivals, financial reasons, we have to care about the product. But I think if we put a lot of emphasis on the process, making sure that you feel comfortable, making sure you feel special, our actors feel special, our team feels special, that's important to us almost as much as, even if we're to cut for time, an hour and a half and having to film. I think something with the ensemble that was so crazy was that it was so metaphorical. It was so loose in its structure at first. And then I think that was what was kind of fun is that we could kind of dwindle it down to what we wanted it to be.
Yeah.
A story. Like we just kind of did this thing about society and then we made it about college and then we made it about this girl, but none of that was planned. That plan about Maria, who was on the podcast before, and she plays kind of the main girl who it's about. None of that was planned. That was all added later after we did your thing, which is crazy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of now, if we want to go to speech, just real quick, you're in speech, and we haven't put out much information about that, but I would love to hear kind of about what you're excited about. I guess we could talk about both. Let's talk about the ensemble first. What are you excited about the audience getting from the ensemble?
I think it's always so interesting because I've really come to, as I do more films and more like shooting things on set and whatnot, because it is a different experience than like when you prep for theater. Theater, you're doing the whole thing. Film. The way I remember, because I was learning about it in class, and then when I would do shows, because the program I was in at Pace was more predominantly theater based, is that you can change things in between takes, and that's within a couple minutes. When you do it in theater, it's in between nights.
Yeah.
So every night is different, but you have a whole day. Not that you're really thinking about it, but that's the in between time. So in telling the audience like what to expect, I just want you to be taken with it. I don't want to tell you what to feel from it or anything. Whatever you feel is right, and I just want when you watch these films to just be taken by it and experience what you think. It makes you think. It makes you feel something. That's the only thing I would really hope.
Yeah.
Is that you're and plus that you enjoy it. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Before I ask you a question, I really just want to, we're going a little off topic, but I just want to touch on something. You're talking about speech. Victor, I was supposed to be in that movie, but unfortunately I couldn't because of
Oh, that's right.
work
Like,
problems. Victor, I was so mad that I could not come. My boss is a weirdo for not letting me go. She's no longer there, thank God. But anyway, I was so mad. I prepared because I really wanted to act with you because I seen you in the ensemble. I'm like, dude, this guy is good. Like, I would love, just to be in a movie with him. And oh my God, I was so mad, Victor. But one day we will work together. I promise you, my friend.
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be an honor for me. But all right, let's jump back on topics. I know you are only here for a limited time. So so we're talking about acting and everything. What are your biggest struggles of being an actor today, you would say, with COVID and the strike? What do you think about that?
Oh God, it was the 1-2 punch there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It really
the
was.
thing. At least
It really was.
the thing I say is like, I think the strike. If we're gonna just talk about the strike, I think that really mainly affected people like in the middle ground of the industry. Because someone like me, it's like I'm coming out of school. Yeah, it sucks. I'm not getting auditions, but I'm like just figuring out life anyway.
Yeah.
I already have a job.
Yeah.
I'm not depending on acting. Same with the people at the top. Like to them, it's a vacation. Not to say that obviously everyone wants to work. It's your livelihood. It's your passion. It's what you want to do.
Right.
But it's the people that had just left their job because they're getting steady gigs. It's the people that were doing that. So in terms of the strike, it was more of like, I'm glad it happened because you get all the benefits from it and it's important that it happened. But for me, it didn't really affect me too much. It was more just like, damn, I can't audition. But at the time, anyway, I was taking classes, and then I was doing student films, and I probably was going to do that anyway. So it was good. It's COVID, the biggest struggle with that is letting go that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and then trying to find, like, what was the good that happened there? What was the growth? Really, I look at that as more of a reflection. Right now, with, like, starting out, getting out of school, it's always the transition out of school, which you'll experience soon. It's interesting. Because the freedom you have in there is both exciting and it's, like, terrifying at the same time. So I think that, and then also, like, setting expectations and like, am I thinking about acting too much? That's a thought I've actually had lately. Because I said I'm just finishing up a class with this teacher I've been studying with for the past year, and I'm ready to stop that. I'm ready. Because I'm like, I never wanted to take another class after school. And then, so, like, doing that, I go to the movies, like, 3 to 4 times a week. Because I want to. I genuinely want to see movies. Get the most out of that A-list subscription. Come on.
I was just about to say, are you a Stubbs member?
Oh, come on. Why else would I... How am I going to the movies 3 to 4 times a week?
Yeah.
Right.
And then, like, my work. I usher at Broadway Theater. So I'm inundated with acting a lot. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I should chill for a second. I don't know. I go in and out of that somewhat.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest struggle. It's like, it's always the question of, am I doing enough? That's what I think I struggle with most.
Okay.
Right.
At this current juncture. Am I doing enough or am I doing too much?
That's great. That's a great thing to think about. It's a great question as a person, as an actor, or anyone in their field, really.
Yeah, really.
Am I doing enough versus, other people you see, am I doing enough? Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Totally. Well, so we're going to wrap up soon. And I'm hoping to have you on again when we do speech marketing in a couple weeks. But
we could go for an hour.
We literally could. We could keep going.
We could just talk about Priscilla for 50 minutes.
No, we were about to.
Absolutely.
No, but we totally could, and we have to wrap up. But I really am hoping that we can have you on in literally before the end of the spring, because I think that you're a great guest, and I want you back when we want to do this again. I just want to obviously congratulate Victor. He's our inducted to a Hall of Fame for F14. So congrats to that.
Very excited to get my hat.
Yes,
really am.
We're gonna mail the hat to you soon. We're just getting them in, but and then also obviously you want to catch Victor not only at a Broadway theater. We'll show you at right now.
I'm working at Sweeney Todd right now.
Okay, Sweeney Todd. So you want to catch him at Sweeney Todd
At
as an usher.
back of the Jones, James Earl Jones Theater.
Cool. But you also want to check him out on F14. films as Carter in Speech, which comes out in next fall. And then this summer, early summer, June, you're going to see him as the acting teacher, the amazing acting teacher in the Ensemble. So thank you for being here. And
Thank you, Victor.
we are looking forward to chatting again.
Yeah, it'll be great. Looking forward to it.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.